You probably don't think of hospital freezers when you think about climate solutions, but they're using as much energy per day as a single family home, and that's when they're running efficiently. If you work in or around hospitals and you care about climate, you're probably surrounded by untapped opportunity like this all over the place and not even realize it. This episode shows how one operations manager turned freezer maintenance into a full-blown sustainability initiative, and how you can start spotting these kinds of wins in your own job. Because once you know where to look, you can stop leaving all of that impact on the table and start making climate change from within the system. My guest today is Chuck Blanchette, manager of research facilities at Boston Children's Hospital, and the force behind their award-winning Green Labs program. He's helped Boston Children's become a national model for cutting lab energy use, for recycling plastics, and for building reuse systems that actually stick. He's also a dad of 2, and everything he's built comes from wanting to leave behind a planet that they can thrive on. You'll hear how Chuck went from just a freezer guy to launching one of the most impactful hospital-based climate programs in the country. Welcome to Any Job Can Be a Climate Job. This episode kicks off a multi-part series inside Boston Children's Hospital, exploring how climate action shows up in labs, operating rooms, and hospital design. Let's get into it. Well, Chuck, let's start with the basics. Can you share where you work, what your actual job is?
My name is Chuck Blanchette. I work at Boston Children's Hospital in research operations. I'm the manager of research facilities. So I will say, for lack of a better description, I'm a glorified customer service representative for over 200 labs across 6 buildings. And I make sure that they get what they need in order to do their research.
For someone managing 200 labs, Chuck spends a lot of his time thinking about cold storage. And that's where this story really starts. So how did you get pulled into this sustainability stuff? Did it really start with a freezer?
How it happened was, I'm working with these facilities on things, and freezers, research operations work with, we support over 800 cold storage units, ultra low temperature freezers that store critical research for all these labs. And some labs have many freezers, some labs have few, but we provide 24-hour, 365-day-a-year monitoring. They have alarms, so if they warm up or if a door was left open, we have we work with the engineering department. They would get the alarm. They would go assess to see what's going on. They would page our team. We have on-call folks, and we kind of triage and take care of it, notify the lab from there. So as a part of that, we also pay for yearly preventive maintenance to make sure that these units don't break. I never would have thought that it was a sustainability thing at all. We just knew that to help these freezers to stay in good condition, there are certain things the labs have to do. So it all trickles out. But who would have thought that a freezer would have sustainability on it? One day they came up to me and they said, there's this challenge. It's an international challenge called the Freezer Challenge. And we'd like you to help us with it because you deal a lot with the freezers. And I said, and I can't say no. Like, it's a problem. So I said, sure. Like, what do I have to do? And so I look into it.
Yeah.
And I'm reading what you have to do for this challenge. And it's everything I've already been preaching to the labs that they have to do anyways, so their freezers don't break. I'm like, well, this is interesting,
Yeah.
and then working with scouts and then working with kids. And I'm not saying that all researchers are like kids, but kids like fun things and researchers like fun things. Everybody likes fun things. They like awards. They like friendly competition. Anything that breaks that monotony from doing your day-to-day job is welcome. So, all right. So let's see. I think I can really make this something. So I do a push. I take it off of their hands, off the Green Labs hands. And I make it my my job. It's funny how like it moved from this is something you should do, you need to do it, to this is something we want to do, and we're going to do it every year because we're going to try to compete and we're going to do better and we're going to improve upon it. And we're doing it because it's a great cause. And then I remind them politely later, I'm like, well, look at how much money you saved. Or like your freezer hasn't had an issue in over 2 years because you've successfully done this over the past couple of years. You haven't had it fail once, because failing freezers, I mean, that's a scary thing. When you get a phone call in the middle of the night saying that your negative 80-degree freezer is at negative 50, oh my goodness, uh, the flags go out, and everybody starts going crazy.
Yeah, I can only imagine the downstream implications of that.
My Green Lab,
Hmm.
another nonprofit that promotes sustainability in science, and the International Institute for Sustainable Laboratories. Uh,
Yeah.
they put together great infographics, um, all the metrics that researchers would want to see because everybody loves numbers. Um, I just took that information and shared it with a spin on Boston Children's research. It took off, and you could
Yeah.
see people's skin crawl or eyes widen when you say that a minus 80 freezer takes the same energy as a single family home per day. It really took off. Um, the first year when I did that, when they first asked me, we had 8 labs participate. Um, out of the around 210 labs that we had 8 participate, and we won first place in the top clinical category in the world. I think it's a big deal, but for the wrong reason.
Mm.
If only 8 of our labs participated and we got the top prize, what are other people doing? Or what are they not
Mm.
doing? We were
Wow.
happy to win, but 8
Yeah.
labs and I have 210 labs, that was just unacceptable for me.
Right. Yeah. Like, how did they score the winning? What are they judging based off of?
There's the competition isn't just about saving energy, but it's also about cold storage practices, best practices. So it's
Okay.
also helping researchers find their samples quicker because they've done an inventory or they have a better rack, keeping the door open for the least amount of time. Um,
Right.
this is our 4th year. Um, we've seen a 68% decrease in freezer failures or fixing that needed to
Wow.
happen at all. So it's been pretty amazing.
That is amazing because it sounded like you were already pretty on top of this before you even knew about the freezer challenge. Like these were a lot of the best practices you were instilling across the Boston Children's Labs.
Which is another thing that drove me nuts, because if they were already doing it, why can't we utilize this challenge, not just to be winners as we are in Boston, city of champions, but
Hmm.
but the greatest thing I think about this challenge too is those metrics in which you asked how they're graded on. All this gets recorded.
Yeah.
We get the whole sheet back, so we can see what people have done, what people don't do, what they have, what they need,
Mm.
the amount of energy each lab is saving. We can compare and contrast with other labs, see any trends. We're able to see if freezers might be on their way out, so we can prep labs to maybe look into an energy saving Energy Star unit, which then my
Yeah.
salesperson, me being a salesperson would say, you can get a Energy Star unit and get an instant rebate of $2,000 off. And they say, really? And I just try to, I play the game like that. So it's really a helpful
Yeah.
tool. And if we win, it's great. And the excitement that comes from it each year, and then the growth over the years. So we started with 8 labs, then we had 20, then we had 30. This year we had 54,
Wow.
which was my goal, was to at least a quarter of the labs. So
Okay.
it's been good to see the participation growing, but it's also cool to have people come up to me and say, hey, thanks for helping me with this.
But the real progress wasn't just in the numbers, it was in how people started thinking.
I helped create lab defrosting kits for people to pass out, so they have all the tools that they need to do it. We can
Good.
we can help the Green Lab team just created a video we're going to release soon on how to defrost a freezer. We have people available
Yeah.
to help if they need it. So it's not just about the competition, but just those best practices all around. This has been a really helpful tool.
Right. So now that you know what the best practices are and seen how it's working in all of these labs that are participating, you're creating like it sounds like more optimization on top of that. These kits and videos and things to just make it easier to keep everything maintained and also climate friendly.
Yeah, and then the behavior change in it, which is, it's building that good habit, which turns into, you know, behavioral, and then it kind of it turns into culture.
And what do you think it's going to take to get the rest of the labs on board? What's holding them back?
I think there's a couple things that come into play. One is everybody is busy, um, but there's a lot of people too. I would say that the younger researchers and the younger principal investigators, um, they are all for it. I think it's become
Mm.
more of a uh, I don't want to say. I'll say it's more cultural now to be sustainability minded in a way than it
Yeah.
is for the older generation researchers. I feel like that's been the biggest holdback, and through our 54 labs competing this year,
Hmm.
the change is there. I mean, we're on the up and up. It's
Hmm.
good to see.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good point that you're sharing there is, younger people who are in the workforce. I see this a lot. I mean, this is their future. This is their life and their planet. And so of course it makes sense to prioritize these things wherever you can. But for folks who didn't grow up with that future and who have been doing the same job for a very long time and are used to the ways they've been doing it, change can be really, really difficult. And when budgets got tighter, Chuck found a new motivator: money.
This year, although tough for researchers and funding, in the current political climate, it has opened up an opportunity for people to be more fiscally responsible and think about what type of money they have, how they're going to use it, and figuring out plans B and C. Whereas before, you had that secured funding, you kind of felt comfortable, like, well, if something breaks, we're going to replace it. And now, if something breaks, what's plan B and C? So I did a
Mm,
lot of angling this year with the promotion of the freezer challenge, but with the data that I gathered over the last 3 years and the current prices of the most common repairs to the freezers that might happen if the defrosting or the annual preventive maintenance isn't done. This is what you're going to be
yeah.
spending. A lot of feedback that we got in the Green Lab program, thanking
Yeah,
us.
anchoring around cost.
Yes, like,
Mhm.
so these people who one of my, I wish I could show you some pictures of some my greatest hits freezers, the ones that are
But yeah,
awful.
send them over next
Sure,
afterwards.
absolutely. Like, so for a handle, because they're trying to shove that door shut so tight, because it won't shut because of all the ice buildup. If they break one of the handles off, it's $1,300 to replace for a handle.
Wow.
And then compressors, maybe there's two of them, each one's maybe 3,500 each if it breaks. So I listed everything out. I said, these are the prices. Like, even for somebody to come in, a vendor, to do the outside rubber gasket, which you think, oh yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
fridge at home. It's $500 for the guy to walk in the door, and then $500 for the gasket. Um, so by bringing that
Yeah.
to the front of some of these meetings that we have, that definitely built some motivation for people to participate.
And he's not kidding. Chuck even sent me some of those freezer photos. The frost buildup, the defrost kits, and even a few of those greatest hits he mentions. I'll post them on Substack so you can take a look and see what it looks like close up. But the photos aren't just really cool to look at. They also show how storytelling is becoming one of Chuck's biggest tools for culture change. I'm so curious, when you first, you were listening to the Green Labs team come on with some stats at the town halls and nobody was really listening, you signed up for the mailing list. Did you consider yourself a climate person back then?
No, not at all. And I just never considered myself a climate person. I mean, I definitely grew up uh, when recycling wasn't a thing, and then it became a thing. And I remember going with my father to like a central recycling place in the next town over, where there was just a big containment unit that held newspaper because that's all they recycled. And I remember making the trip to drop off the daily newspaper stacks that we've had for the month. And now even
Yeah.
through learning things here or being a climate person at home, my wife and I mean, we try to do our best. But like never would I have ever on a larger scale. Um, I would have been involved in such a larger project. And we do so many things now at Boston Children's.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it.
I absolutely lose my mind when I'm walking by a conference room and the screen is on and the lights are on. And I know it's 4 p.m. and nobody else has a meeting. And why didn't anybody shut it off? Which sparked one of our
Right.
our new Green Lab campaigns. Small signage that just says, remember to shut off the light, or are you the last one out? Or we make them fun little cartoons. We have some areas where the lights dim when it's sunny, and then they come back up when it's dark. So that's good
Nice.
on the technical end. But one of the things we're starting is SWOOP, which is an acronym for Switch Off Optimization Program. And essentially, they're just stickers, but the delivery is one of our Green Lab folks will go to your lab and we'll walk through all the
Mm-hmm.
equipment you have. And we have green, yellow, and red stickers. Green means I can shut this off at the end of every day. Yellow means I can shut it off during the weekend. And red means don't shut it off at all because it's detrimental to the equipment. So
Mm.
these small stickers, you're using, say, like a small tube shaker that gets a green sticker. And then when you're done, you can shut it off. Hopefully that sticker, screams out, shut me off, because there's so many times I would come in on a Monday morning at 7 a.m. when it's nice and quiet, and I'll be walking around. And then we have the ghost shaker just shaking nothing.
Mm.
And it's been on all
All
weekend.
weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I love that sticker model, because I imagine there's maybe people, if you have a high turnover and you have new people starting, I wouldn't want to accidentally turn off the wrong thing and like cost the lab all this money and time and everything. So that gives them like the confidence and knowing that these are able to be turned off. And it's like a reminder. And I love that it's so low tech. You didn't need to like send out a new training for everybody to go through, and they don't have to memorize these. It's just like right there
Yep.
on every piece of equipment.
Green, yellow,
really
and red.
cool.
That's all they need to know.
Pretty soon, those little stickers became part of daily lab life. Sustainability in plain sight. From switches to stickers to fume hoods, every corner of the lab had potential.
Because my job is primarily walking around to all these buildings. And if sustainability lines up with my job or the role that I needed to do that day, then that's the message I would get across. It's almost to the point where people don't even know what my job is anymore, and they think I'm the sustainability guy, which is super cool, but it is not. So when we choose our jobs, it's what we could do when we could do it, essentially. What takes one person to pull off, or what needs a team to pull off. Anybody can be a green leader. Anybody can help spread the education that we provide during our once a month lab representative town halls that we have. So we talk to maybe 100 people, and then they go back and hopefully share that with their labs. So that's good. So if we could do a job that way, we could. When we tried doing another competition called the Shut the Sash competition, and that was based on fume hood use, and fume hoods use 3 times the amount of energy of a house per day. So your freezer uses 1 house worth of energy.
Wow.
Fume hoods use 3. And when these are
3 for one fume hood.
correct, 3 houses.
And these are like the fume hoods over your stove that are sucking out whatever, but like I would imagine on a massive scale, and
Yeah,
probably
so
like hazardous fumes and things like that.
picture like a kitchen closet with a hood and the doors shut, but it's all a hood. So they do all their, gas
Okay.
work or anything flammable, or it's a safety thing, really. So they're outside of the hood,
Wow.
protected by glass, and their hands are inside, and then the air is being vented out.
I see.
So what we wanted to do for education, we spun it as both. Again, it is a safety thing. So keeping the doors shut when not in use is a safety
Uh-huh.
thing. But also, when you're keeping the doors shut, the fans slow down. So there's less energy being
Mm.
used. And when the doors are shut, the fans slow down and it's not sucking the room air out, which affects the HVAC, which uses more energy. So they're all tied together um, in this
Yeah.
vicious loop. So we called the competition "Just Shut It" competition, and it had to do
Huh.
with fume hoods, but also similarly, their lab doors need to be shut because the lab space has a different HVAC system than the hallway. And then so it would suck the hallway air into the lab space, making those
Wow.
fans work hard. It was really fascinating from a facility standpoint, how much energy can be conserved or how much waste you see, which is shocking.
Yeah.
So we tried doing that. So
Yeah.
th-
Wow.
that competition takes the team because we had uh, say 200 fume hoods or so, and we would go around and take measurements to see if it fell in between 0 and 3 inches or 0 and 9 inches, or if it was just left open. If it was open, was anybody working in it, or was it just left open over the weekend? Similarly to my ghost rockers, I would come in 7 a.m. and these would be wide open,
Wow.
using energy all weekend. Big vacuum.
That's so sad. Once you start seeing waste, you see it everywhere, even in what gets thrown away. So it sounds like you were making serious progress in the conference rooms, the corporate spaces, the labs, and then you started connecting dots beyond the building as well. Can you tell us about the ice packs and how you found a new creative use for that?
Yeah, so there's so many
This
things.
story, I love it.
There's so many
Caught me off
things.
guard.
Yeah, there's so many things that we can recycle nowadays and or reuse, and styrofoam coolers that we get for samples and things seem to pack up, and like there's a way to recycle those now. But the ice packs, people they would store those in the old styrofoam coolers in the hallway, just oozing out. I mean, there would just be ice packs everywhere. One of the things you can't recycle them, and then you have to get rid of them. I mean, if you throw them in the landfill, it's just bad because it's plastic, and then there's the material that's inside. Um, some of the ice packs you can cut and then drain out and recycle the plastic if it's within the plastic recycling program that we have, or it just goes in the trash. But at least we got rid of the inside that could go water soluble, go down the drain, depending on the brand of ice pack. There's so many different things, but I talked to this woman. Her name's Avery, and she works at um, Beth Israel. And she said we share a building. We lease space from the same building. And she said to me
Okay.
one day that they give their ice packs to a cheese farm. And I said, cheese farm. So it's just being, reused, giving ice packs a second life. So we tried to see if they could take our ice packs, and at the time they could not. Uh, there's with taking care of them, cleaning them, processing them on their end. It was just not in our sites. Before this cheese option came up, we thought of contacting food banks, the Greater Boston Food
Mm.
Bank. We talked to pantries, local pantries. We talked to there's a couple of homeless shelters that help uh, provide education and food service, and they do catering through
Okay.
that program, which is a great program through the Pine Street Inn, and I worked with them when I was working with Scouts, and I thought, oh, maybe they could use the ice packs, but it's very specific, so it was hard to find anybody who would take our ice packs.
Hmm.
And we reached back out to the cheese folks, and we came up with a better system on how we're going to clean them or getting prepped, like do the work for them. And it's really just, it's unbelievable, really, that we're going to give folks ice packs, the cheese company, and they're going to give them a second life. And we don't have to throw them
Yeah.
away. They've only been used once, and they get a second life over there. And it helps them on like the other scopes of emissions. They don't have to order any, which means
Right.
more aren't being made in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Not
it's
and cost savings to them, I'm sure.
correct. And it's, we don't have to pay to have things picked up. Now we recycle a ton at work, and we have e-waste
Mm-hmm.
recycling, and we do a great job working with vendors, but that comes at a cost. So this is no cost.
Right.
We get them
Right.
in. We bought. All right, it had a little cost. We had to get containers to store them in that we'll keep on swapping back and forth. When
Okay.
they pick up the
Okay.
cheese. But
Yeah.
for a $500 investment, that's years of getting rid of ice packs for free and giving them a second life, and helping out a local cheese company right here in Massachusetts. So it's
Absolutely.
really fantastic. So we're going to start with this one building. That where we share the space with Beth Israel, and then we'll, once they know how much they can receive, then we'll do the
Mm-hmm.
rest of the building. So they're really excited. And I think they figured it out. They got another freezer for ice packs that they said is
Good.
in their parking lot just for our ice packs. So it's really, it's so small and it's so cheesy uh, that it, but it's exciting because like people are going to be,
It's really exciting. And what I really love about this story too is that it's totally separate. Like we've been talking this whole time about research labs
yeah,
and the children's hospital and like office environments, and now we're talking you're thinking about you're partnering with a cheese company to help give your ice packs a second life, and you had done all this other research too, and all these other organizations you were reaching out to see if they could use the ice packs. I mean, not everybody takes the time to do that, and I really commend you for that. And I'm also really curious, the ones who didn't take the ice packs, are there what can be done there? Is it just because of your specific ice packs? Would other company ice packs maybe fit better, or what's going on?
so there's a couple of different things we were told, which makes sense, and I understand. Like even though they're just ice packs and they were keeping things cold, because they're coming from a medical institution or research, there's the risk of being a biohazard, or just
Uh,
the idea of being a biohazard, which for us has been
right.
why we can't recycle many items. And if one of our
Mm,
items are spotted in the recycling bin, the hauler will incinerate the whole bag because they think that one item was a contaminated item, and it was not. And then,
wow.
so which leads us to our recycling program that we just have now. But so there's a way around it. But yeah, so biohazards. Um, there's again the different content within the ice pack. Like some are kind of like a hard
Yeah.
foam, and then some of those liquid ones, they don't want them
Mm.
busting open, and because they're serving food. So the caterers
Mm-hmm.
didn't want the ones that may bust open. Um, just those, they were just kind of questionable.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so, because you guys are a medical facility, there's a little bit maybe more caution that some food companies will have, but perhaps other industries or companies like florists or things like that
Correct.
that might be. Yeah. Okay. So just for our listeners to get some ideas,
Yeah.
because I'm sure this is sparking a lot of them.
And it never hurts to ask the questions. I mean, that's how I've gotten very far with just asking questions, and it doesn't hurt. And you'll be surprised on what you find out. And it could be just a small tweak in the process, and then you make that happen, and you're golden, or you
Yeah.
get an answer that will help you learn what you could do otherwise, or come up with a plan B and plan C. So asking those small questions will get you far.
Yeah, it sounds like that's been the arc of your whole climate journey here is just asking questions and following what you think is right.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk a little bit more about these green team champions.
Okay.
You mentioned that they were like none of you are this isn't a title, this isn't expected to come out of your like regular hours, you're not paid for it. And yet you need all these people in all these labs to help like monitor and check and promote and advocate. How do you find them or how have you found them? And why do they get involved?
This is an excellent question. I'm going to try to keep it straight. So, in my experience and in my other job, and working for scouting, where leadership is a fundamental value, um, and being a professional in the scouting community, uh, we were a council of 76 communities, but a staff of 13. We are volunteer led and professionally guided. So within that experience, you learn how to um, find help, or find people with certain skills that you can utilize, and you kind of get your aces in their places. How I found these folks, uh, we had just the two members of the Boston Children's Hospital Green Labs program. It was me and my coworker Valen, and we decided to do a membership drive of sorts. And pipette tip boxes, which aren't recyclable in regular recycling, because of the plastic type. Um, we decided to promote planting a succulent in a pipette tip box. So it's kind of like, recycling or reuse. Um, and then just
Yeah.
open up the conversation about what the Green Lab program is, what we're about, what are some goals that we would like to do, how it affects the labs, how it affects the world, how to be something greater than just yourself, how to we went back to the strength in numbers, but really I think it kind of tied into Simon Sinek and his golden circle, like why. We start with why, like what's our cause, what's our belief, and we found those people with the same beliefs that we did, right? And then, why leads to how leads to what's going to be our result. So we it was just amazing. There's just this, it was an hour and a half event. We just talked to so many people. We had 20 people come through and
Wow.
instantly got 14 members. And these 14 members,
Good.
it was like assembling the Avengers. And just organically, each person was from a different department and cared and was just really excited that they could be a part of something that had to do with sustainability, that had to do with our climate action plan, that had to do with just um, uh, the- uh, every little piece had something. Like one person was really good with the education stuff. So she made the PowerPoints and did all our lab town hall presentations. One person was great with graphics. So she did all our stickers and all our signs. And one person was great with social media. So they did, they boosted the Instagram following and the posts, and everybody had their own thing. And the brainstorming that happened, and we just met once a month for an hour. And just I felt like a proud dad. Like we just grew,
Aw.
and
Yeah.
they would come back. It was their idea to go do departmental presentations. So a couple of the team would go and they would talk about Green Labs, what they could do in their own space, how they could save money by doing certain things. And then they would come back and they were so energized and so excited. And the labs
Yeah.
were excited and they didn't even know that we existed. And it
Right.
just really blew up. Like in the past 2 years, it's been so amazing to see what we've been able to do, and what we've turned into as a group, that we're nationally and internationally recognized. That we've
That's
won
amazing.
awards. I just got word the other day. We won a couple more awards, and I think it comes back to like leading where you are, leading. It doesn't
Mm,
matter what kind of job you have. Um, Anybody could be a leader, and anybody can inspire others by first making the connections on purpose, like on whatever the purpose is. Like I just feel
yeah.
the trickle down effect from me getting up there and joking around during a tournament meeting, but like sneaking in facts, and making it fun. Having smaller
Yeah.
events with working with the vendors that I work with. The vendors are willing to bring in some food and talk about what they're doing sustainability related. Um, and it's not
Good.
it,
Cross-pollination of ideas.
they want to they want to do the right thing for the environment. They want to do the right thing for their lab, and the people are out. Yeah.
So, Chuck, what would you want to say to somebody who wants to act on climate but doesn't have a sustainability title?
If I wanted to say something, if you think you can, you can, and if you think you can't, you're right. Ford said that, I think, but it really rings true. I feel as though there are small things that we can do, and every small actionable item leads to change. Every They say it takes 21 days to make a healthy habit. If you can get somebody to do something for 21 days and then just pass it on, we're making progress.
Yeah.
I feel like it never hurts to ask a question. If you're passionate about something, make it known. There's somebody else out there who shares the same interests as you do, and you can work together as a team, and then it just spreads from there.
Boston Children's mission has always been to help children thrive in the hospital and far beyond it. And without a healthy planet, that mission simply cannot succeed. And that's what people like Chuck Blanchette are quietly building towards. One freezer, one lab, one small habit at a time. Next time, we're headed to the operating room to see what sustainability looks like when every second counts. I'm Louisa Henry, and this is Any Job Can Be a Climate Job. If you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you could like it and subscribe it, maybe share it with a friend. It helps it grow, and it helps me keep doing what I love doing. Thanks so much.